How's it going, everybody? David Hedge here, House Hedge Gaming, and today I am looking at a game that puts you in the role of a superhero, going up against minions and big bads, but the only problem is they have something special to go against the heroes, to where if one hit lands, the entire team loses. Now, let's take a look at the Wiggles 3D game, One Hit Heroes Season 1. Alright, let's take a look at how to play One Hit Heroes from Wiggles 3D. Now this is Season 1, which in the game it comes with 3 different episodes to play through. If you get the Kickstarter, you can also have an option to go for the Epilogue expansion that gives you more challenges for your heroes. But the way the game works is as follows. So you and your friends are superheroes trying to defend the city against big bads and their minions. But the only problem is a new material has been found, and it's called Infinitum. And with that material, the big bosses are using it to weaken the superheroes, to where if one hit lands, then it's game over for the heroes. So, setup for the game is real simple. You have 6 different heroes to choose from, and you have everything from a Plague Doctor, you have a Flame Lancer, the Bunny Ninja, a Bow Slinger Will, Ro-Ro the Claw Robot, and Sophia the Sniper. We're going to use these latter 2 for this little example today. So what you're going to do is that you'll get a game board that consists of a space for your hero. You have 2 blue cards that will be in your deck. They'll have these little symbols here. Let me actually show you. This little symbol right here, this is basically your equipment in the game. You will use these not only for their abilities, but they can also help you defend against an attack. In addition to this, you have energy with a cool little slider here. You will start the slider off at max, so you'll have 3 energy to use for whatever card you draw and equipment that you would like to use. Finally, you will take these little counters here, and we'll go over these little suckers in a sec, and you will put 3 in the gray area, 1 each. This is your aggro meter, and this is basically the more you hit the big boss, the more you're going to be drawing attention to yourself. So, once you have your hero picked out and the equipment on their board, you then take the remainder of their deck and you shuffle it up. And this is basically a deck building game. The biggest thing about it, though, is that it's not really a traditional deck building game. Most deck building games, you have a card pool that you get to buy from throughout the game. This one, you're building up your abilities further and further ahead in the storyline when you go against these big bads and the various scenarios that they propose. So once you have everything set up on the player boards, you then set up the big boss. So each one, there are 3 episodes. Episode 1, The Factory. Episode 2, The Wild West. And Episode 3, Zodiacs. I can't wait to see what this one is. This is a prototype version of One Hit Heroes, so this one does not have the Episode 3, but it does have Episode 1, which myself and my friends are playing through. By the way, this is really fun, and we're getting ready to do Episode 2, The Wild West. But you'll take the first villain in the episode box. So if you're starting fresh, Episode 1, The Factory, you're going against Punchbot. Now, Punchbot has several things on their board. One, they have amount of minor and major damage that they can take throughout the game. So this one, Punchbot, has 10 minor and 5 major damage. You also get their special ability. Now this special ability triggers when a certain event happens, and we'll go over that during gameplay. So you'll make sure you get the minor and the major damage counters and set them beside their respective minion and boss. Now some of these bosses will have minions, and that's going to be a whole other different mess later on down the line. Finally, you will get the corresponding deck to go with the boss that you're fighting. So for Punchbot, you'll look for the ones with Punchbot, and you'll set it to 1. It'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You'll set that deck aside, and once you do that, you're pretty much ready to play. So let's go over the turns for both the heroes and the big boss. Alright, after everybody has drawn their 5 cards to start off the game, then you decide who goes first. So let's say in this example, Ro-Ro the Claw Robot will go first. Now, it'll always go hero, boss, boss. So every other turn, the boss is going to activate. Now, the boss, this top card, will flip over. This gives you an idea of what the boss is going to be doing on their turn. So This will happen during each player's turn, except for the first player. This card will already be flipped over at the same time you're drawing your 5 cards to start off the game. Now for the heroes, they have 3 different things they will do during their turn. One is the scout. Now they will take the top card of the villain deck, the boss deck, flip it over, and see what's going to be happening on the boss's turn. You don't have to worry about this during the first player's turn. Next, you get to fight. You get to play up to 3 cards, and then you also get to activate your equipment, if you wish, during your turn. And the way you do that, there's some, like for example, a strategy module. You will pay energy to remove aggro from another hero. So, for example, I would just slide this down and remove aggro from another hero. Some abilities, like the protection module, has certain effects that take place when something happens. So, for example, when you block with this card, you may also block for another hero at the same time. There are some to where if they get destroyed, you get to burn them, which I'll go over that in a second. They'll get a special effect. Now, in the game, while playing your cards, you'll have 3 different cards you get to choose from. One, you get weapons. Now, the weapons are the main thing you would do to deal damage to the big boss. You'll play the card, and then for example, this one it deals 2 minor damage and 1 major damage. And then you will also follow whatever text that it has below. So for Overwhelm, you would take 2 small or 2 minor damage, 1 major damage, and you will place them into your aggro track. You basically hit the big bad for a lot of damage, and you're drawing attention to yourself, and that will definitely come back to haunt you a little bit later on. Now the text also says for this one you have to destroy 1 of your items, so it's a big attack, but unfortunately you have to lose 1 of your items to do it. Now there are also action cards you will play, which are blue cards, that will allow you to do certain things, and then it just goes back to the discard pile when the turn ends. Finally, there are green cards that you'll be using, and those are reaction cards. Now, reaction cards are ones, like for example, Recovery Drone, you could play in certain times. So for example, this one says play at any time. So this is any time during anybody's turn, including the boss's. There are some that will say during the boss's turn, some that will say during an ally's turn. And you just have to watch the timing on those. But the biggest difference between the first 2 here and then Recovery Drone, like the reactions, you're going to have some that will have the red symbol and some that will have the green symbol on the side. If it has the green symbol, what that does, that goes to your discard pile after it's used. If it has the red symbol, the burn symbol, that means it gets burned and it's technically out of circulation, but there are cards that will let you get that back into your hand or back into play later on down the line. Okay, so let's go over what Ro-Oh did for their turn. So they played a swipe to deal a damage to the villain and lost an energy. Next they did a grapple to deal a minor damage and take up to 2 aggro from another hero. Now if it's the first turn, you're going to be able to take it from the other hero's board. So let's say for Sophia, they took 2 aggro from them. Then you had Overwhelm, dealt the big damage that's already there, and I had to destroy 1 of my equipment and it gets burned. But don't worry, for Ro-Oh, they know how to recycle with cards like Salvage Run. After you're done playing all your cards, you will then put them in their respective piles. So these 2 here will go to the discard, and this one here will go to the burn area. Now finally, the last thing you'll do after you scout and after you fight is rest. Now with that, all you have to do is draw back up to 5 cards in hand. So I got 2 here. I draw 3 more to get 5 cards. If for some reason your deck runs out of cards, don't worry. You just take your discard pile, shuffle it up, turn it over, and that's your deck. Once you are done on your turn, now it goes to the boss's turn. Now the boss has 2 things that it can do. First off, you check to see if this ability goes off. So in this case, Punchbot's going to be able to attack if any hero is in the red zone, which for right now, after that big turn, Ro-Oh's in the red zone. So when it says attack, they will roll this attack die. If it says miss, it misses every hero. If it says hit, it hits every hero. If you roll a certain color, it depends on what color you roll, will depend on the hit. So let's say, for example, the punch bot hits with red. So anybody that's in the red symbol gets hit. Now, the higher you go up on your aggro, the more likely you're going to get hit by an attack. So if you're in the green zone, chances are you're going to be able to survive a little bit longer because you're not drawing too much attention to yourself. But if you're in the red and purple zone, you made an enemy in the big boss. So now, when you get attacked, you can either play a reaction card or you can use one of your equipment to put into the discard or be destroyed. It will go most likely to the burn area, and that will absorb the hit. So in this case, I'll have to use my protection module. Maybe. Let's see if I drew my reaction. See, this is the reason why you check your cards in your hand. Alright, so in this case, I do have a reaction. However, it does not help me out at all in this case. This one, if the attack die is green, change it to a miss. It's definitely not green, it is red. So it is definitely going to hit. So I'd have to take my protection module and put it into my burn pile. Now, this does leave me wide open to where if I get hit the next time, and if I can't have a reaction, or if my fellow allies don't have any way to help me out, I'll take the one hit and that'd be game over. But luckily, I have allies that can help me out with their reactions in addition to everything else that's going on. Once this attack is done, or whatever the ability is on the boss, you then go on to their plot, is what I'm calling it. You'll go over to their deck and you get to see what's going to be happening. So for example, with this one, all heroes will gain 3 aggro. So you'll take that aggro from the supply and you will fill in the next 3 slots on your board. Now, if you fill up your slots completely, so for this one, I can only take 2 more, the rest of it would basically be negated and will go back and stay in the supply. Once the boss has both those things accomplished, then it goes to the next player. And so on and so forth until one of 2 things happens. One, a hero gets hit. If that happens, the whole team loses. But if you are able to take all of the damage from the boss bot, or the boss itself, then you go on to the next boss. You get to refill your deck and you get to draft cards, which is one of the best things I love about this game, because you get to take draft packs as a reward and you draft out those cards. So I'm just going to open up season 2 here to show you one of the boosters, because we have opened up a couple. Sorry for that screech, my apologies. So you'll open up a booster pack like this. Now with this, you will lay the 8 cards that are in the pack onto the table, and you get to do what a lot of us TCG players know as Rochester draft. Each player will be able to take 2 cards from that pack and add it to their deck. Now if they get an equipment card, like this one here, then when they go into the next boss fight, and from that point forward, that's basically a bit of their, I would say their armory, their personal armory, because you'll have any cards that are left over going into a separate armory. But you'll have your own equipment. You'll be able to trade in and out throughout the rest of the episodes and the rest of the story that's in the game. Now, you'll go through all 3 episodes of the season, each one containing fantastic bosses to go against, whether it be a punch bot, a crate bot, a giant bomb, a cute, adorable little bird is going to make you so dang mad when you have to go against Cuddles, and so many other villains that you will encounter and their minions, and each one has a special effect that will affect the game throughout that duration of play. And that is how you play one-hit heroes from Wiggles 3D. Well, there you have it. That is how you play One-Hit Heroes Season 1. Now, this is a prototype version of the game, so the artwork and a few of the rules are still in development, need to be refined, artwork needs to be updated, but from what I've seen so far, I really do enjoy the game. And I thank Wiggles 3D so much for sending me the prototype to be able to review for you all today. The gameplay for this is simple, it's easy, but also it's strategic because you're having to work together with your fellow superheroes to go against the big bad and try and figure out what the best strategy is to take them out. Being able to have the different heroes, each one having their own unique thing to add to the team, is definitely a plus. It's not just, well, here's generic hero A, generic hero B. You get different characters that each offer a role to the team to make it a more cohesive unit and a great cooperative play experience. Now, as far as the bosses go, I got a chance to play through episode 1 with a few friends of mine. And we sat down. We all enjoy these kind of cooperative games, and I wanted to get them together to play it. And when we did, we absolutely fell in love with the game. It was so much fun to play because you're openly discussing with everybody what you want to do. Having to manage the aggro tracks of each character so one person is not getting enough attention or too much attention from the big boss while you're drawing attention to yourself. Being able to block for your friends, being able to help each other out throughout the game and figure out the best strategy to take out the big boss. I really do enjoy that kind of aspect because I've always enjoyed cooperative games, social games, and this one is definitely that. You're openly communicating with each other to figure out what the best course of action is to deal with your current situation with the big boss. Now, through episode 1, there are 4 bots you go against in the factory, and each one offers a different challenge. So you have Punch Bot at the very beginning. It's a basic robot. The name says it all. They're there to punch. But the other ones that you go against offer different challenges. One of them is a time limit event where if a certain gets to a certain point, the whole team loses. There's one that gives you a little bit of help because you're in a factory. You can use your surroundings as a way to help you out survive against the attacks. And then there's one that's a little bugger that loves playing hide and seek that just frustrates the dickens out of you because of how annoying they are. But you know what? I'll let you find that out on your own. But this game is really a whole lot of fun to play. If you're into cooperative games, if you're into superheroes, this is definitely worth checking out. Now, the Kickstarter's already done, but they are accepting late pledges. And it's an inexpensive game, too. For $49, you get the 3 main episodes. For $60, you get the 3 episodes, plus you get a bonus epilogue called The Infinite, which I can't wait to see what that is. And definitely check it out. If you're into co-op games, if you're into superhero games, this is one worth checking out on the late pledge. And I promise you this, as soon as it comes out, I'm getting it. It's one that I really did enjoy playing, and I can't wait to see what's in episode 2 and episode 3 and going against the Infinite. Now, one more thing I wanted to point out real quick, and that is my hat. I know I don't wear hats in these videos, but this one I want to because this is special to me. I figured I was doing a video for a game that features heroes. And what better way to do that than to wear the hat of my first hero, my father. And I would like to thank Wiggles 3D once again for allowing me to do a review and a how to play on the game. And I can't wait to see the finished product and add it to the gaming library here for House Hedgehog Gaming for future playthroughs on the channel. But thank you all so much for checking out this video. If you like it, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And let everybody know that House Hedgehog Gaming is here for all of your gaming needs as the countdown to GenCon 2024 marches on. Until next time, everyone, stay safe and take care, my friends.